Done. Manish, take over.
Okay. Welcome, namaskar, and welcome everyone to our webinar series, Student Banega, Atma, nirbhar. This is our 14th webinar in the series. We have been doing this webinar every week on Friday, 5 to 6 p.m. Every week, we bring in new speakers, and these speakers basically give a lot of insights as to how, in today's context, the college students can find livelihood and be Atmanirbhar. For everyone who are joining for the first time, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Munish Chawla. I'm the co-founder for platform Jeevitam. Jeevitam is a tech-enabled livelihood platform where we are trying to reimagine the college placement process and reimagine the college placement drives. When we are doing this, basically, we are trying to ask 5 questions, 5 important pertinent questions. And these questions are, in the context of today's crisis, when colleges are closed, when corporates are not traveling, and when students are at home, can college placement drive still take place? That's a question which we are asking. Second question, which we are trying to answer, ask is very, very simple, is why college placement drive only for MBA and BTech students, and why not for BA, BCom, BSc, diploma holder students? Third question which we are asking is, why college placement drive only happens in the tier 1 and tier 2 cities? Why not tier 2, tier 3 cities, and especially in those colleges where it has never happened? Fourth, we are asking question, why college placement drive not happen for the first year, second year, and third year students? Why only for the commerce graduate? Because first year, second year, third year students can also get, internship, part-time, freelancing, apprenticeship. There is so many things which are available for these students to make them, work ready when they graduate. And lastly, why college placement drive only has to happen once in a year? Why not it happen, every month, so that every student becomes Atmanirbhar? This crisis has given us an opportunity to reset the way we work and live. I was just reading today one of the surveys done, wherein 66% of the employees do not want to return to work. They want to work from home. The whole, the way we work is getting into transition courtesy this crisis. I think this is an opportunity for us to revamp the way we do college placement process and look into these 5 questions, take it forward. We have been, we are today very fortunate to have, again, 2 very eminent speakers with us, Mr. Vishal and Rumi. They are, experts in their own area, but more they are focusing on, the entrepreneurship side, the gig economy work, the new, opportunities which are emerging. So, as usual, I'm very excited for this discussion today. This is a 2 people format where we'll have discussion. So over to you, KG. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Manish. I think you may also want to speak a little about Jeevitam.
Yeah, Jeevitam, is a tech-enabled livelihood platform. We have, around 1.5 crore work seekers on our platform. We have been providing livelihood opportunities to people in over 1,000 cities and with over 200 profile types. In this crisis itself, we had shortlisted around 1 million odd candidates to the work opportunities which are available. We believe in working in collaboration. We are working arrangement with Labor Ministry, where we are doing job fairs. We are, in fact, pioneers to do digital job fairs, remote hiring, which is now coming. We have been a pioneer into the remote hiring. We are working with state governments, UP government, the other state governments in the country. Top corporates are our clients. Philanthropy has played a very vital role in this crisis. So Jeevitam is on its way to have 10 crore work seekers on the platform. That's the way forward. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks. And before we kick off, here is our video.
स्कूल की लाइन में लगे एक आंख बंद किए इधर उधर ताकते, इसका मतलब शायद मालूम ही नहीं था। कॉलेज की भीड़ में दोस्तों के साथ ठाके लगाते भी कामयाबी पानी तो थी, मगर हम होंगे कामयाब ये सोचने की ना जरूरत थी ना मौका। माँ की नसीहतें और पिता के सहारे के बीच हम होंगे कामयाब के मायने समझना थोड़ा मुश्किल था। हम होंगे कामयाब का असली मतलब तो तब समझ आया जब जिंदगी ने हाथ छुड़ाकर कहा, ये तुम्हारी लड़ाई है, सिर्फ तुम्हारी। लड़ो, गिरो, उठो, फिर लड़ो, फिर गिरो, फिर उठो, अगर उठ सको। लड़ने ने, गिरने ने और गिरकर उठने ने हिम्मत तो जगाई ही, साथ ही जगाया यकीन। और इस यकीन को हकीकत बनाने में आपके साथ है जीवतम।
अब परिवर्तन लाना है, लक्ष्य तो हमें पाना है, होंगे कामयाब एक दिन। हाँ, होंगे कामयाब एक दिन, होंगे कामयाब एक दिन।
आइए मिलकर भारत को कामयाब बनाते हैं।
सरकार की सहायता रोजगार के साथ जोड़ करके नई इकाइयों के लिए सरकार अब योजना बनाए। देश में रोजगार के अवसर बढ़े, उस पर हम बल देना चाहते हैं।
होंगे कामयाब एक दिन।
Thanks, Srishti, for that video. And let me just jump directly into the game. I think we have two exceptionally talented and I would say accomplished speakers today. We have got Rivi Oberoi and we have got Vishal Demla. And it's important for us first to introduce them. I think Rivi, for all we know, from the great background that we have of the person, she has been a person who has been involved, I would say, in every sphere of the work that we have seen so far. She has been a person who has worked in organizations. She has moved into a state where she has actually started startups. She has finally landed at a space where she gives livelihood opportunities, which are actually part-time, full-time, or apprenticeship across various phases of a student's career. So when I say student's career is a very strange word, because student is student and career we expect to happen after a person comes out of the institution. But in reality, what she does is she helps people to find ways and means to become effective during their education, so that the period of 3 to 4 years that you spend in a college becomes the starting point for their further life into their career. And she focuses very clearly on students. And this session will become very lively as we start posing questions to her on this specific subject of our expertise. A TIS graduate, and I think with 22 years of experience, you will find that a person who has seen various facets of career to an extent of being an entrepreneur herself will teach us and teach students who are watching us a new way of experiencing education. And we hope that students benefit from this, from our wise and great talent that she herself has. Moving over to Vishal. Vishal currently works for an organization which basically is a man from a, let's say he works for a company, Kelly, Pro Kelly, but the reality is that if you go back to his history and see this person, you will find the kind of various talents that he has had, which he has leveraged to reach where he is. His interests are about startups, HR, strategy, costs, and chaos. You generally don't see profiles of this kind. He's a man who's actually set up, scaled, and also shut to tech-based HR startups. So the man knows how to start, he knows how to make the thing sustain, and if required and the call has to be taken, he'll shut it down. He has been instrumental in acquiring 50 plus startups across sectors. He did it, and his life didn't start at the age of 22 when he graduated. It's more of a man who started his first sales at the age of 8. He made money while designing at the age of 17, started teaching at 19, did at least 20 plus internships and projects, volunteering, and also short stints at Infosys and Praxis. Vishal comes with a man as a man who comes with a repertoire of ideas on what students should do before they jump into a career. Where should they be to find where their career should start? I think having given these two backgrounds of people who are going to talk to us for the next 45 minutes, the best way would be to ask them questions. The best way would be to understand from them what students need today in the current environment, which we're actually very close to coming out of a COVID scenario. So as the economy starts opening up, we need to find out what students need to do now at this point of time to make their lives easier and become atma-nirbhar. So let me ask you, Rimi, in this as the first question for you. Why do you think work experience is required during the journey of a student life?
Thank you, Mr. Mohan. And upfront, I'd like to thank the entire team at Jeevitam for inviting me. To the question that you have, directed at me, it's interesting that like I was sharing with you when we spoke, we as human beings give each other so much time to pick up the basic things of life. Learning how to walk, how to talk, how to speak, how to write your first sentence, how to write it without it going out of the two lines you have to write within, how to do your first addition, subtraction. But when we start to look for jobs, we want to know how to do it the moment it is time. It is almost like there is some magic potion we should drink and we should know how to now deliver, and somebody should give us the money for it. How is that logical when human beings are spending 12 years in school, told don't work, spend time studying? How can that suddenly transfer into a working environment? The world over, especially in the West, young people, in fact, Vishal, I would say, is a pioneer if you look by Indian standards, but he would not be unusual in the West, where students start to do work at the tender age of 8 and 10. Either it's throwing newspaper for the locality that they live in, or it is to work in the local newspaper office as a editor or a writer, or it is to help a local not-for-profit with some volunteering activities over the weekend, or it's to run a yard sale. These are all work skills. So if students desire a good job, a job which is aspirational for them, they have an amount in mind or kind of work in mind, they have to start early. They have to start when they are in college. And there is no excuse today to say that it's difficult to do both. There are enough platforms and organizations which support this intent with beautifully planned out opportunities which students can work on. Make mistakes, nobody will worry and bother or point a finger at them, and they will actually pick up one by one all the skills required to become competent to pick up the job the day they leave college. What are those skills? Punctuality, deadline orientation. Nobody can teach it in a classroom. Target orientation, given a job, do it correctly. Write a small email correctly. You can't do it in a classroom. Classroom teaches you knowledge. It gives you attitude. But at the end of the day, you've got to ensure that you have to apply it through experience. And no better time is a time when you are in school or college and picking it up alongside your academic life.
I think great. I think that it's a great kickoff to the session when you speak about what you talked about, Vishal, which in India seems to be a rarity, and in the West it seems to be the norm. And for a boy who starts mowing the lawn in front of his neighbor's house and making those 10 cents a day, or chucking the paper across the street, and starts earning his journey of becoming Atmanirbhar starts very early. and Vishal did it in India in this lifetime, and has earned his purse experiencing that. So, Munish, what do you think you should be asking Vishal next?
I think Vishal is a pioneer, and I think the position he is in, he's in touch with corporates. He knows what are the corporates, asking. So we have seen a lot of transition which has taken place in the last 9 odd months since the onset of this crisis. The whole, workforce is in transition, is what I feel. You know, and when this is a transition, there has to be a trends which are emerging. I'm very interesting to know, and from a student's perspective, what are those emerging trends, which basically a student over here who's, coming out of college now has to look into and adapt himself to the change which has recently coming. Work from home, for example, is one such change, So over to you, Vishal, very keen to know your mind on the emerging trends, which are coming. Vishal.
Sure. Thank you, everyone. I think the first thing when I see now what are the trends emerging, and it's more, let's say, from my experience also. If you have feet, you will dance. That's a very famous old statement. I think with the opportunities which are available now, and the way internet has democratized opportunities at the tip of your fingertips, I genuinely believe if you have feet, you can easily dance. Now, predominantly, if you look, you actually need nowadays a laptop or a mobile or an internet, and most importantly, intent in bold and italics for basically to see what opportunities are actually available. So I'll go back to even what Rimi was also saying in terms of mental makeup, and it's a long-term process. I think she's absolutely right. But I think let's just hit the nail over there that we are in an instant noodles or instant Maggie generation per se. Even I am also part of it for that matter. Now I'm in graduation. Now I've just done graduation. Suddenly I realize I need to do a job. So I needed that instant gratification. So I think my conversation would be more about that. So I think that is also the trend that I'm seeing, which is the instant gratification. I go and click on my mobile, and suddenly, there are opportunities which are possibly coming. The second thing is there are lots and lots of things which are being created for people from humanities background. And let me just say that I'm a commerce graduate and an arts postgraduate. And I clearly see lots and lots of opportunities coming for non-engineering background folks, which a lot of engineering people or people think that it's only for IT folks, but actually it's the other way around also now. At least for the last 3-4 years, I'm seeing a humongous trend. The third thing that I'm seeing is the passion economy. That if you are a creator, if you can write, if you are a musician, or if you possibly can sketch, if you can draw, there is a humongous trend which is emerging on the passion economy side too. Fourth, and of course, we have been talking a lot from work from home or remote opportunities. I clearly see a fair amount of, let's say, opportunities arising on that side too. Moving on to the skill side, I think if you can write, there are opportunities in content writing, blogging, vlogging, for example. If you like to find something, you can do research, and there are, let's say, platforms which are offering you those opportunities. If you like marketing and if you think internet also excites you, there are digital marketing opportunities for you. You can actually take surveys. You can actually charge 200, 300 rupees for every survey that you want to do. There are virtual assistants which are required that people who are in college that they can do it simultaneously. There are data entry jobs that one can do. If you like to draw, paint, you can make illustrations. GIFs is, for example, is a very big trend that, a lot of graduates would associate with. Believe me, I know people who make GIFs. There are platforms like InstaMojo, Gumroad. You make GIFs, you can sell it over there. You basically just need to know what you want to do. You like fashion, you like mobiles, you can create a channel on YouTube. You like to talk on technology, you like to teach, you start a podcast for yourself on Khabri app, for example. You're good in crafts, for example, and SCPW, which was our not so favorite subject, I think for lots of people, and we used to mock about it. Okay, welcome. If you like arts, you can actually make arts, you can sell arts and crafts. There's a very big platform known as Etsy. So that's where I said, Munish, opportunities are in abundance, and intent in bold and italics, I repeat again, is what is required. So I think that's the trend that I'm seeing.
I think this is amazing, what the way you are there. I always believe, in India, in anywhere, there are enough work opportunities, so there are work seekers and there are work opportunity. It's all about your intent, what you see. If you have the right intent, right focus, I think work opportunities are waiting for you. And this internet has really opened so much of things. What you want to do, you can do it out. I think this is amazing. I think we are heating it up. KG, over to you for your next question.
I think this is to Rimi now. And Rimi, I learned a new word from you called economic mobility. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about economic mobility. Let's talk about uh, why working during your graduation years will help you in economic mobility in life. I think I'm sure you have got some thoughts around this.
So, like I was talking to Ms. Mohan, economic mobility is something that I think Indians don't think very deeply about. There is a belief of aspirations, but people don't put a number or a salary or a value related to wealth creation to it. I aspire for a particular job. Now, the problem is that you've got this particular working career, which starts mostly for Indians at 22, 25. And I mean, in today's time, there's no real retirement age, but there are the best years where you can actually max your income, which is about 20, 25 years, right? It has been proven that the first salary that you get gives you the compounding effect of how much money you will make in the rest of your life. So that's a simple math, right? If you start at 5,000 rupees, even 100% increase is 10,000 rupees, right? But if you start at 10,000 rupees, right, even a 30% increase is much more than what this guy would get at 100%, right? So the economic mobility that you can get has to start as early as possible. So if you start at 15 and you're doing jobs which help you earn salaries in the range of 5 to 10,000, by the time you are per month, by the time you are 24, you've got the skills to start the job at 25,000 rupees. You're already saved almost 5 to 6 years of your life, which if you start at 25, you're eating into the most important years of your life, which by the way is also the same period where you have a lot of life changing decisions and milestones happening, which anyway put a lot of pressure on you, and so many things can go wrong. Your parents are growing older, you get married, you have children. All of this adds to the permutation combination of what can go wrong and can set you back because you don't have the financial capability to manage it, and hence you land in debt, and hence your risk taking capability also falls. So mobility is the ability, economic mobility is the ability to move from a particular level of wealth that has been created by your family to the next level of wealth. It has been said that for the first time in our lifetime, not here, but in the West, children are going to make less money than their parents. There is a period of prosperity which has plateaued, that children are staying with their parents for a longer period, as much as their 30s, before getting out, because they're not making enough money. They're not making enough money to, afford a house of their own. This is going to soon happen in India also. The cost of a good house in a metro city is very expensive. If your father or mother already owns one, you'll rather live there and then live in a small house, outside in the suburbs, right? So how do you ensure you don't get trapped? It depends on the first salary that you make. People think that I'll make up for it, I'll work hard, but there is always the math. If you're at 5,000, nobody's going to give you a 200% increase, right? Because there's a reason why you're at 5,000. That's a skill you have. Your skill is not going to turn 4 times in a single year, or even 1x in a year. But you've done it for 50, your skills have increased, you're at a base where you will move faster in the best years of your life, where industry will respect you for your capability and quality of output. You will see your generation being much more wealthier than your parents' generation. That requires, excuse me, hard work. It's a competitive environment out there. Technology is changing substantially. There is, interface which is automating so much of the work, which means the skills of yesterday are no longer relevant, and hence base skills will not get you those jobs, right? So that's where young people need to understand that if I don't know how to use many of the skills that's expected of me in companies, I will move slowly. If the GDP growth is slow, it's worse. Your increases are going to be even more less. For this year, for example, it's a COVID year. Most companies are not giving increases. You think you came in at 5,000 or 10,000 or 15,000. What will you do? You're stuck for 2 years at 15,000. But imagine you came in at 25,000 rupees. It's not going to hurt you that much, right? So you will have 6-7 years of growth, then you will have a cycle of recession. You have to consider all of that. So economic mobility happens if you start as early as possible, because there is the math of percentage. Companies can only give you that much increase and help you to make wealth. I'm not saying there is no other way to make money. You can become an entrepreneur and a successful one, and that's a completely different story. Here we are trying to look at how can you actually have great livelihood when you have great skills to start with. When you're young, when you're healthy, strong, excited, energetic, enthusiastic, driven, you should maximize that by going in on a better runway.
Great. So I think to summarize what you say is that to crack a starting salary to be at the right number, don't wait to complete your graduation to arrive at that number. You have to pick up your skills over the 4 years, and we'll talk about it as the day progresses. I think this is quite interesting. And Vinny, I'm feeling sad that you didn't tell me this 25 years ago when I started my career. I should have thought of this much earlier than now. I think students should benefit from this statement, because assuming that first 4 years of or 3 years of graduating studies should focus only on studies is an absolute myth, is what you have told us. So thanks a lot for that. And this leads me on to Vishal. And Vishal, I think there must be some ways and paths to lead to your livelihood. And I think you have some thoughts around that, I'm sure. What should a person do? Which path and which route should a person take before he lands up at the livelihood which he wants to start in his life?
Yeah. So, one the first thing. So, one very interesting perspective that Jimmy brought out was compounding, for example, or start early. I think these were some very interesting keywords. And if you look at Warren Buffett, who's known in the world for his compounding, he actually bought his first script or share when he was not even 15 years old, for that matter. That was one of the first script that he bought. So he started so early. You pick up Bill Gates, you pick up Steve Jobs, and I think most of the people would know these guys that I'm talking about. I think even, so I started reading about, let's say, Steve Jobs, I think when I was in graduation, and I think people over here still would love Steve Jobs for what he's created. He was not even 20 when he started. Same with Bill Gates. So yes, compounding and early, that's the first track. But let me start with so I have two answers to it, as in what are the tracks that people should pick. First is the philosophical way to answer. And I think the philosophical way that I have is, number one is the trying, failing, try again. That is the number one track. So you need to be absolutely okay. And if I go with your video, which is in Hindi, the last script in your video of Jeevitam also talks about failure, talks about trying, talks about, getting up again. I think it just again hits the nail over there. So I think that's the first track that I'm talking about. The second track that I'm talking about is start yesterday. I think it's not, the best time was not today. Actually, it was yesterday. So as of yesterday, possibly we should start. I think that's the second track. Now coming on the hard skills, as in what are the tracks that people should possibly look at? Though I think it would be a little bit of repeat telecast, what I even answered in my first question. The first path I think people can look at is the creator, passion, and entrepreneur track. So I'm not using the word entrepreneur right now. I'm just using the word creator and passion. And I think I'm very fascinated by this new thing. That's because, it's very, very easy as attitude. If I look at it, what are my skills, what I like to do, let's say in my free time, I just need to dig deep into it, which is actually my next door neighbor, and, start creating something out of it. I think that's the first track that people can look at it when they want to start something. Number two is your very regular internships, jobs, etc., that people can look at it. And, even in the two slider that I have and in my couple of next thoughts, I would be talking about the platform that people can actually go out over there. And third is, we actually miss there is a very, very big sector which is in volunteering or in NGOs or the impact space per se. I think that's a very beautiful track because, and I would possibly even talk about it, that even before my graduation, I started working with NGOs, and I think it opened a very, very different world for me. And I think one of the partly that played a very big role why I even got through this. But having said that, I think a lot of people don't know about there are volunteer opportunities, and NGOs are absolutely okay for students to work for them. So I think these are 4 tracks that I clearly see in a not so philosophical way that people can actually look at.
Well said. I think I don't know how many of you know that there's a old DVD where Bill Gates and Warren Buffett have a conversation, and it's a very eye-opening DVD because remember there's an age difference between Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, but very strangely they started their lives when they started the same way that you spoke about, starting early and thinking of their life. But all said and done, I don't know how many of us know that Warren Buffett still maintains the same house that he bought
3
years
BHK.
ago.
Yeah.
Yes, and in 3 BHK, his dining table remains the same old dining table, which he still uses for the family. And Bill Gates talks a lot about how he has brought up his own children in the new environment. But before they even reach the stature that they were, I think what you rightly said is what they did when they started is what matters, because it's not about where you reached after 30 years. Your starting block defines what you are. I think that's very well put, Vishal. So Munish, you want to take over and trouble Rimi a bit today?
I think it's very interesting to hear Rimi and Vishal and the perspective they are bringing in for the students, especially which is very relevant in today's context. That is much more important. Starting early, having the experience. So for me, Vishal, I'm able to relate to you because I started earning I earned my holiday, when I graduated from my 10th class, the holiday which I had to go. So I did selling and earned. So I have been working since the age, since my 11th class. But you were a little earlier than me, but my working started when I was I passed out of 10th class, but I've been earning till now. And I'm happy to share my daughter also this month, she started her own enterprise, her own bakery. My daughter, her name is Ira. So she started her own bakery at the age of 16. Okay. So yes, the perspective, and this is, I'm putting it to Rimi, Rimi, what is the importance of the work experience, and what sort of a work experience students should look at, for making them, the path they want to go, Vishal had so many stints, to then he latched on to what is there. Do we know what we really want? What sort of experience does the experience has to tell us what we want? What is the role of experience, for students to when they are starting working? Over to you, Rimi.
Thank you, Manish. So, if a student has access to some career counseling services in their school, I'm because now the government is mandating that across the country. It's not implemented enough, but I am seeing definitely a much better avatar of it than when we used to just, say it, just mouth it, but nothing came out of it. So if student can talk to a career counselor and just understand the basic areas of interest and skills, that's definitely a starting point. Like, I'm good at writing, or I like reading, or I like presenting, I like the whole idea, talking to someone and convincing him. These are simple things. Or I like creating, I like playing with software. So that's definitely a starting point. But it's not necessary that you want the entire life plan written out for you, because you're so young, you are going to keep changing and evolving. But using that as the first anchor, and if you don't have it, just use your intuitive sense, talk to your friends and family. They know you also, some advice. Start somewhere. Now, the most important thing when you start is the belief that every opportunity is an experience. Nothing is going to go against you. Not a single opportunity is going to be like a negative mark. Oh, why did you do this? Did this mean that this is what you want to do in your career? Nobody is standing in judgment when you're young. So what are you going to gain? Every experience will move you towards a particular place where you will say, okay, this I did not like, or this I really liked. So the ones you did not like, move away from it. Once you liked, and most of the time we like things which you're good at, that's normally how we are. Move in that direction, do more. Now, when you do more, do deliberate work, which is deliberate practice. It's called more challenging opportunities. Hey, I did a good job of selling, something. Let me just take the next opportunity, which is free. No, sell something which is a little more tougher. Sell more. Take up responsibility to mentor other people to sell. Right. So keep challenging yourself, and as you grow, because you would mostly do it from maybe age 17, 18 to age 23, 24, you will soon reach a point where you are very, very clear. This is what I like doing the most. It gives you career clarity. You have stories to tell about how you figured it out. Your personality definitely improves because you've got confidence. You figured out the area that your space, the space that makes you so confident. You're good at what it is. I mean, Vishal, you and I went to TIS. I think those 2 years where we did so many projects made us confident that, we, of course, our institute guys did a good job of recruiting us. They knew better than we did, but, taking us for the course. But I think the projects we did, I did about 6 of them, gave me the clarity and confidence that I not only do I know what I have to do that, but no, or secondly, I am good at it. And that gave me the confidence to go out and look for a job and do well, when I went for those opportunities. That is something that nobody can take away from you as you get out in the world. So career clarity through multiple levels of experimenting, taking more and more challenging opportunities, and hence stretching yourself and building that confidence is definitely what a work experience is going to gain for you.
Wow. KJ, over to you.
And I think, great. So I think let's come to the crux of the matter. Students all over the country ready to go and jump into the line for a livelihood. But the question is, where are these lines? Where are these hangouts? Where do people go? And how do they find their job? College placement drives are surely one of them. But before that too, what are the ways and means that they should do? I think Vishal, some thoughts on that.
So let's start with the learning track. And I think learning track, and let's also go with the persona of the people. I'm 100% sure all of you guys go to YouTube. But how many of you actually go to YouTube to learn? And if I tell you there are enormous amount of free courses which is lying, you don't have to spend money on it. Guys, start from there. So let's start for courses from YouTube. There are enormous of it. That's the number one hanging out. And I know you all hang out over there. Number two, from India perspective, specifically, let's say on soft skills also, which at times might be a miss. There's a beautiful app known as Josh Skills. Guys, don't worry. When our presentation, or rather in the last spot, there is a 2-slide presentation that we are doing. In that, all these platforms that I'm talking about, it would be mentioned over there also. I think the second place where possibly can people use to learn specifically at this stage can be Josh Skills. For the enormous amount of courses that they have, it starts with 150, 200 rupees, not very expensive to pay. Third is a Udemy, Coursera, edX. You can at least find 25 to 30% of courses, either in non-tech, either on arts, either on social entrepreneurship, either on creating a craft or on music, playing a chess. You think about a course, these 5-6 curated platforms that I'm talking about are fantastic, and a lot of free stuff is available. Again, if you have feet, will dance, there is an intention, you just need to go and hang out over there. So number one is the courses, the 6 platforms that I spoke about. Number two, I've been talking a lot and consistently on creator passion economy. And I think why I'm emphasizing a lot on it, because it is stemming from the fact if you have interest, automatically there would be a double interest from your side to pursue or follow it. I think the 6-7 platforms that I'm talking about here is number one, Khabri app. Khabri app basically gives you an opportunity to create a free podcast of your own. So anybody, let's say if you like to talk about current affairs, for example, you like to talk about sarkari jobs, for example, you possibly want to talk about news, basically. You may want to talk about how you are handling your student life, possibly. Create a channel of yourself for free of cost. You'll get subscribers over there. You can even start making money, by the way. Number two is the Pepper. Pepper is again an Indian platform wherein if you are one of those bloggers, possibly you like to write content, you think you can write reviews on Amazon and you want to get money for it, go to Pepper for that matter and you'll get money. The third platform is Gumroad basically. Gumroad, Buy Me a Coffee, Instamojo. These three are very, very similar platforms wherein anybody who wants to even draw, if you are a musician, if you are a podcaster, if you think about any kind of artist, we are talking about between these four platforms an economy of $7 to $15 billion in a year, wherein people like graduates of any stream, people who are working from home, who are not going to office, are making money with these kind of activities. I'm not talking M as in Mumbai wala million. I'm talking B as in Bombay wala billion. I repeated over there. So these are few platforms possibly one can do. And last but not the least, Udemy or Fiverr. So Udemy basically gives you an opportunity to create a few courses. So for example, if you are fantastic in history, go there, create a course about it. There are people who may buy that course for 200 to 50 rupees just to know how, let's say, medieval history to versus, let's say, ancient history, things have moved. As I said, if you like to play violin, create a course over there. If you like to play piano, create a course over there. There are people who would actually pay for it, for that matter. Fiverr, again, is the last platform in the passion economy space, wherein I think it gives a beautiful, and it was one of the first platforms. All these platforms, guys, are working on a very, very similar model, wherein you just need to go, create, launch, and of course, work on the community building. But think of anything. I can't even talk about the number of services that people have started. But yeah, sitting from anywhere, sitting from your hostel room, sitting from your home, you can possibly do that. Third and most important, which is, though is the last thing that I'm going to talk about, is about the internships, jobs, or let's say gigs that usually we go. And that's one of the first things which comes into our mind. I think it's what Jeevitam and both Oyster Connect are doing. I think you should keep watching this space also in terms of the opportunities that they're also trying to bring it to you. So first two for sure is go to Jeevitam and Oyster Connect. Third, I think Internshala, Freshers World are also some very interesting platforms possibly you may want to explore, which are very, very dedicatedly since 8 to 10 years are working for freshers, work from home opportunities, remote opportunities, even internships. So have a look at that. If you are interested to work in a startup, and why I'm saying startup, there are around 30,000 plus startups in India. There is a huge revolution which has been created. And believe me, startups like NGOs are looking for talent. They usually, I have worked for, let's say, 3,000 plus organizations in my career. You think about any large Fortune 500 firm or a startup, I would have possibly placed people over there. Usually, let's say with Fortune 500 firm, the trend is you need to have some experience, you need to have X education to possibly go through. But having said that, startups don't look at it from that perspective. They are new age. They basically look at, again, you have feet, you want to dance, come join us. And then it's all about your intent to work over there, your intent, how much hard work you can actually do. So I think AngelList and Indeed, you may want to check if there are startup interest, you want to see what's happening. Last but not the least, the volunteering opportunities or NGOs that I'm talking about, Volunteering India, maybe one of the organizations or platforms that somebody can have. So I think these are fairly good 20-25 hangouts that I've given. They're not your regular cafe, coffee day, barista or Starbucks, but I think these can be new hangouts if possibly we may intend to spend some time on. Very easy for me to give Gyan right now. I'm in that, I'm in that seat. Let's just call it. But having said that, guys, it would help. So yeah.
I think.
Wow. I think, I think, Vishal, what I like about you is what the passion you bring in, the entire thing. Okay. What all ideas you have, passion economy, I believe if your work becomes your passion, okay, or your passion becomes your work, I think there is no better thing than that. But it takes a lot of time, to figure out what is your actually calling, which you are into. And the kind of opportunities you have given out, the kind of platforms which are now available, for everyone to really get into is phenomenal. I am getting very, very intrigued. I think all the students must be enjoying whatever you are you are saying to that. It's all music to the ears, you know. So all the students over here, you want to, you know, listen to this whole thing, you can go to the Facebook and revisit it out. Believe me, you know, listening to Vishal and Remy again and again will give you a lot of very important insights. So I am liking, you know, actually I'm enjoying this whole particular conversation. You know, it's coming out, giving a lot of fresh perspective to the whole thing, the way we are looking at it. Remy, I'm now going to come to you, you know, because what for me, you know, I have been into banking for 20 years. You know, I was a banker for 20 years. And when I was a banker, it was, you know, my qualification, which was financial service, which was a chartered accountant. I'm a chartered accountant and I wanted to be in sales. So I did 1 + 1 together and became a banker. And once a banker, 20 years into banking, you know, and 20 साल के बाद जिंदगी ना मिलेगी दोबारा, देखी का यार ये कॉलिंग मेरी नहीं है, and I quit and started on my startupreneur journey, you know. And today I'm not doing anything which is related to banking, okay, the way we are, okay. So how much is, you know, my work experience actually does not, what I'm doing does not relate to what I have been doing, and this is my calling. I got it when I'm in my 50 now, okay. So what is that work, what is the role work experience plays, you know, in shaping the career or the way we create our livelihood, you know, is something which is very, very interesting for everyone to look at, you know. अगर मैं पहला जॉब मेरा डॉक्टर का हो गया या मैं बैंकर का हो गया या लॉयर का हो गया, am I going to be lawyer everything? What is that we should do?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Munish, because I keep hearing that from students who are just doing short, gigs with us. That, ma'am, I am doing a content development job. That means पूरी जिंदगी में content development ही करूँगी क्या? You know, I at age 18, 20, kind of rigid, something which is just, and the bigger question is the question Munish said, that this is going to happen to us again and again, and you need to be able to keep, reworking or redefining yourself, and you cannot ever be stuck in a particular, a way of life, saying that now that I've done sales, I now have to be a sales guy all my life. The moment you say that, there is some sort of feeling of being in a rut, a sense of helplessness, that I am just this and I cannot be anybody else. So the biggest thing that short-term experiences should give you is this belief that I have done so much when I was young. I tried so many different things. Why cannot anything working? Why I tend to, maybe it is my bias, but I do believe that your satisfaction in your career really will if you a whole hope as you grew up. You've experienced different things in your life. Hence, you have tremendous confidence to not just pick up new skills, but divine new areas of work, sustainable livelihood there. So, yes, you might start out as a doctor. I have a brother who started out as a doctor. Imagine spending 5-7 years of his life. That's what he felt he later wanted to do. Right? But if you do not build in yourself that belief, can be what I want to be, it is very difficult to actually make you. It's very easy to say it, but it's very difficult to deliver satisfaction. But stuck in that rut, and that starts with your mind. But if you build a flexible attitude towards a career because of the variety of experiences you've had, I really like what Vishal said about volunteering. It really makes you not just a humble person, but your perspective on life changes. Reach out and become so forceful in the way you will work, because volunteering is always about you the best of every resource. You become much more entrepreneurial, enterprising, gives you so much confidence about what I want to do whenever it's time to do. So yes, I do believe that first career that you might choose, you might spend the rest of your life like Munish did. Typically speaking, you did spend all your corporate career there. Or you might decide after 2-3 years. Many of them, in fact, most of the entrepreneurs today who are kind of known or in the news. They are very young boys and girls. They are 25, 28, 30, some without no experience, who've gotten out of college and said that they want to do this. But you'll be surprised if you go back and look at some of their backgrounds. They've been trying different things all the time in school, in college, failed, gave up on it, tried it again, ran something in school or college, figured out things around it, saw a certain pattern, and then decided to go full on in their social, entrepreneurship career. I don't think they intended when they were studying at an IIT or an engineering college that my aim in life is entrepreneur. So I think, yes, careers are not about a plan which is determined for the next 25, 30 years. And that's the beauty of the lives we live. I don't think this is the way we thought when, when our parents started working or when I started working. It was mostly like, this is pretty much the main career. Yes, once I retire, I might take up some consulting and all of that, but that's not happening anymore. But I do believe that that ability to move your gear, ability to take a different road is instilled early on. It is because of the DNA that you have developed in yourself when you were young, when you tried different things, that when you become older, you have it in you to keep moving around and try different things. It's very unusual otherwise. And those are the people who will have a deeply enriching and satisfying career. And I'm not talking about how much money you've made or what position you are in. It is sheer satisfaction of going to work every day and feeling I love this.
I think this is good, the day I felt, I'm not enjoying going to my office, is the time I said I need to quit, which is there. So I always feel, you need to enjoy what we are doing. Very difficult to actually do that, but if we make up our mind, I think we will figure it out, but, finding a right livelihood requires very different makeup, your mind makeup, because it is not easy to actually find what you need, what it's not easy. What sort of Vishal, I'm coming to you now, okay? What sort of a mental preparation a person has to make it, to find a livelihood, of his choice, the way which is there, should he wait? What sort of a, timeline, what sort of a attitude, what are things, is required to find a job or a livelihood which you are looking at? What is the mental makeup required?
I think, Munish, I'll possibly have some theater embedded in it, and it may look very funny. I think what I, from the mental makeup, what I require is that people should actually take a pledge. I am okay with failure, and I am okay to carry it like a badge. I am okay, even if no money is given, I would still keep trying. I am okay that I won't be expecting things to be like 2-minute Maggie noodles. I'm okay with being a lifelong learner. So I think first of all, this pledge that we all need to take, and I'm not saying just because you are in graduation or you are in PG, you have to take that pledge, including us. I think that is the first thing that we need to start from the mental makeup perspective. The second is some hard thing about hard things, and this is more when people apply and what kind of typical mistakes that I have actually seen. Uh, there is no harm in applying. I think problem comes in the spray and pray approach, wherein I just realized that LinkedIn is a fantastic tool, and I know people hang out over there. I have created a mail. Hi, my name is Vishal Demla. I want to work with you in this department. Now hire me. Something on those lines, let's say. And we would just keep picking people who are, let's say, at a certain level in certain companies, and khadak, 50 emails can be sent in one day. This doesn't work. That I'm talking about is spray and pray. Rule number 2, find out what you like and do some research, not just in terms of the places that you want to work with, but also from your interest perspective. And I think the best thing, so I'm going to say something very, very contradictory. On one part, I'm saying don't do spray and pray. On the other part, I'm going to talk about is how cold emailing on LinkedIn works very, very well if it is backed by a research. Wherein I like about something, there is a company that I've identified. I actually reach out to a senior person in that company. And in that cold email, the formula that I'm talking about is write one good thing about company, introducing yourself, write one good thing about you, which I think as a strength would be useful for the company. And third, demonstrate the matching thing. Maybe you do not have a work experience, that's absolutely fine. But let's say as a skill set, if you've participated in a debate, for example, or maybe even you are a player for that matter, you're good in sports, you are a musician, just write about it and create some kind of analogy, create some kind of similarity that it makes your profile very different, your reach out very different, and there's an interest which gets ignited. I think these 2 3 things, the pledge and the reach out, I think that's very very important thing with the mental makeup perspective that we require. I think 80% it's more mental makeup, which is the pledge I'm talking about, and 20% is the hard skill in terms of how we are reaching out and what is that we are writing. So it's 80-20 according to me. So yeah, this kind of mental makeup is what may help.
Yeah, amazing. You bring up so amazing insights to it. I think this is very, very important, the way you have told for students to really look at. KG, over to you now.
I think this to Rimi now. I think I'll pick up some questions from the audience. So Sanskriti Gupta, she talks about how to get an internship. So what she says is that I struggle. I've been struggling for the last 2 months, 2 to 3 months. Whenever I go and approach somebody for an internship, I'm asked for experience, and none of them want to provide opportunities for that experience. So how do you crack that bit? I think Rimi, if you're there, I think this falls in on your plate to answer this. I think you've lost Rimi because of internet, might be. Yes, I think we will bring her back. In the meantime, I think Vishal, you can also have a start with this.
Sure.
Very valid question.
So if I got the name, it was what's the name of the
Sanskriti Gupta.
Sanskriti. Hi, Sanskriti. Sanskriti, first of all, thanks for the question. 2 months is absolutely okay. Believe me, for freshers during this time. See, a lot of companies are also not hiring. I do not know your background, Rimi. It would have helped. But see, there are, so it would be a very broad answer that I'm going to give right now. See, it also depends upon which kind of platform that you're going to apply and what kind of opportunities you're applying for. And is that platform or place known for it, for example? So one, let's say if you're going, let's say Naukri is the most famous platform wherein people usually go in India to get a job or to get an internship or to get a fresher's job. That may not be the best platform to get a fresher's job, for example. I did talk about...
Just to clarify, she's looking for an internship.
Yeah, internship, which is what?
She's a third year of her engineering. She's doing mechanical engineering currently.
Yeah, Katie sir, so I was just coming on to that. So which is what I'm saying. So if you're going on, let's say Naukri.com, it may not solve the purpose of internship for you. You may want to use platform like, let's say Internshala or Angel List, or maybe Indeed, where internships actually come up and where they usually get positions which are meant for people who are currently students and who can actually do not have work experience. So one is a platform approach. Second, also it depends on what kind of work ex you have, and sorry, not work ex, but what kind of place or skill set that you're applying for, and is that platform known for. So I think work on these 2 things, and plus you need to be absolutely okay whether you applied for 50 places, 60 places, whether it's a spray and pray approach. So basis these broad 3-4 things, I can just tell you, find out the right platform, do some research, and then apply. We have Rimi also. I think Rimi can also throw some light for the question.
So I will just pose the question again to you.
Rimi. Yeah, so my battery died. I'm actually, not at home. I had a very interesting problem. We went to Kasoli for a short break, and then the farmers protest. Agitation has resulted in us not being able to get back. So
that's the typical example you are sharing. A live example is you're stuck, battery goes down, you are in the midst of agitation. Don't give up. Come back to the webinar and speak. What else can there be? So I think without the pledge, Vishal remedied it.
Yeah.
So what Sanskriti was asking was that she's a third-year engineering student and she wants to do an internship. And she's been talking to people for the last 2 to 3 months. And as Vishal has always said that you're going to come across no's very often, and people say that I want to use experience and for internship, even for internship. And so where does the chicken and egg story end? And that's the question that she has. How does she find one?
Can I get a little more details about her? What is her engineering aspiration? What does she want to do in internship?
She hasn't said that. So she wants to be. She's actually a mechanical engineer. Her life interest, as I know her at a different level, is that she wants to do public policy using data analytics. That's her goal in life.
All right. So, has she specified the kind of? So, let me give a generic answer based on experiences with similar students. The number one problem companies have is students who don't define clearly what they want. All right. So, the what they want in today's time is not about I want internship in engineering. It cannot be even I want internship in mechanical engineering. It cannot be I want to learn C++. It cannot be that. It has to be much more specific. It is unfortunate, but if you are approaching a company for internships, you have to be clear yourself. The other way to do it is the way Vishal has suggested. Go to websites. We don't. Oyster Connect also offers internships, but they are non-engineering. Go to websites who have listed engineering internships. Go one by one, apply to one, wait to get listed or shortlisted, go through the interviews. But again, in the interview, there has to be clarity on why you want to do the internship, what all you're willing to learn to be ready for the internship. One of the things that I'm seeing, and Ms. Mohan is right, companies saying that you don't have the skill required for this internship. When they say that, please take out time to ask them specifically what is the skill that they want you to have. It is not just a simple thing like we want you to become a developer. It's not normally that. It is normally very specific things like, can you debug code? That's first thing. In most engineering internships, they expect that the person after a week or so should be able to debug simple code. Can you test a particular code? That's the next thing that they would expect you. Can you run a script on a simple code? Right? So if these are two three things a company is expecting you to learn, yes, you must do something in that area. Unfortunate, but this is really a reality where a student reaches the final year of engineering and has no prior experience in all of this and suddenly wants to do this. And hence, companies will say, oh, I'm so sorry, the expectation is much higher. So there's no problem. The way to go about it is this. I recommend to students who are not getting internships to think about an area of their interest and create a product of their own, which is, for example, the simplest one is a mobile app. So all engineering students who are interested in moving into computer level, which is software engineering and mobile application area, they should first start with making their own mobile application. There has to be stuff on their resume by the final year to say that they are really interested in that area. You should work with your prof or work with a senior who already has done something like this as your mentor to help you with the problems you will run into. Making a mobile application is today a very easy thing. In fact, somebody like me who doesn't have prior experience in coding can actually make a simple mobile app. I won't be able to make some of the more complicated aspects of it, but that is a level at which you can actually do that. Knowledge of a language is important. If the person does not know something like Python, for example, it's very difficult to use that person in an internship. So it is a reality that companies expect you to have technical knowledge in one of the languages, some mobile application knowledge, or basic skills such as what I mentioned, debugging, testing a new feature. So these are the things a person, the main girl you just mentioned, needs to invest her time in, preferably under a mentor. free of cost, who's willing to teach her. And that again, you can approach people either in your college or on LinkedIn who will be willing to mentor her. If a possible a course would also help, there are a lot of courses on Udemy which are not very expensive. Which will help you to take you through the basics of Python, help you to with the basics of programming, mobile application programming. But investing time in that is very important if you want to be considered as a for an internship in the area of software engineering and mobile application development. I know it's a long answer, but answers it has to be answered correctly.
Okay. What I would do, maybe if it's okay by you, I'll ask her to get connected to you, and then you can have a mail conversation to sort out her
Sure.
doubts.
Sure.
That will be great. So, Vishal, the question is here for you. I think this is bang on for you. I think someone has designed the question so that only you can answer this. The question is that why do people only run after single jobs? What should they do to start a business? Why don't we encourage people to start an entrepreneurship right at day one? What inhibits?
So,
And this question comes from Lavanya.
yeah. So, Lavanya, I'm not too sure how you have reached, how you have managed to ask this beautiful question. So, I'll tell you, as compared to, let's say, Western economy, and specifically from entrepreneurship perspective, why you're asking. So, I'll give a little background. I'm around 40 years old now, and I did venture in some time back. I'm giving this. It's a long answer alert, everyone. So around, let's say, 7-8 years back, when I ventured in after having a well-paying job, even it was a problem at that time also for, let's say, a lot of people, because I just got married and it was just 1.5 years and people had a problem. I think the problem is in our culture wherein failure. So if you look at entrepreneurship, 99% more folks who start as an entrepreneur, that are the kind of chances of failing. Basically, more than 99% people actually fail when they start. Number one, Rimi and possibly KG Mohan sir, and these are very few people who have. So Rimi, correct me if I'm wrong, 7+ more years is what you have been doing this platform as an entrepreneurship. So guys, that happened to be one of the 90% plus entrepreneurship entrepreneurs who would have been there, done there for more than 4 years or 5 years per se. The second thing, what it takes to start is not the GST, is not the incorporation registration, it's the intent. You can start depending upon what do you want to do. And I told you, I think don't look at it from the entrepreneurship perspective, Lavanya. Look at it from the passion economy. There are 4 or 5 places that I spoke about. So I do not know what is, for example, that you intend to do in terms of entrepreneurship. If, let's say, you want to create a course, as I said, it can be a course on anything. If you're a designer, possibly, you can just go and start, make your portfolio over there, and you would start getting requests. And when you start getting requests, these are paid requests per se, wherein people would actually pay you, let's say, $1, $5, $10, depending upon how good you are, and you'll start getting rated. I think that's the way to start. And it's very easy to start. We have, as I said now, last 5-7 years, with the new government that we have, there's a humongous push on entrepreneurship. So it really doesn't take GST or incorporation certificates to start. It's your intent, and start with like any of these platforms I told you about. So yeah. And it's a failure, I think, which bothers a lot of people. And unfortunately in India, failure, we can't carry it as a badge. So yeah, that possibly stops.
Great. I think this question is for Rimi, and it's actually challenging her statement. It says that the person has not identified himself, but the question is that if we start focusing on our career or our jobs and find a job finally, it inhibits us from studying further. So, or even while studying currently, it can be a drain on the time which is at hand. So, why do you still say that a person must attempt at least having some work experience during the graduating years?
All right. So let me break it down. I definitely understand when you're young, trying to, multitask with, assignments, homework, and, of course, one has to do Netflix and, Sony Live and watch cricket. And, those are also important things growing up, and those hours are also important. And then on top of that, social media. So definitely there are a lot of things, fighting for the attention of a Gen Z person in today's time. So, it starts with awareness. you know I have 24 hours in a day. Presume 8 to 10 hours you are sleeping. I'm just giving a wide swath of time to a young person. So you've got about 14, 15 hours to yourself. Forget all the time you spend with family, friends, having a bath, everything. You will still have about 10 hours where you have to spend studying and doing something productive. So presuming studying is about 7, 8 hours out of that, every day you will have somewhere in the range of 1 to 2 hours on a weekday, which you can decide, do I want to waste it or do I want to do something valuable, right? Forget the weekday. On the weekend, that is actually almost 4 to 5 hours. All right. So in a year with 52 weekends, 104 days, you have in the range of at least minimum of 1,000 hours, which you can do whatever with. And I'm saying do about 2 months, 2 times in a year of internships or some projects, which should, and each project will take somewhere in the range of 150 to 200 hours. Two projects will take about 400 hours, which is still half of the 1,000, 40 hours that I'm talking about. Forget it. When you're young, start with one project in a year. If you're starting early, like 11th standard or something, and you just don't want to work beyond one internship, which is during summertime when everybody gets additional time because every day is a holiday, right? So start small. You have your 1,040 plus all the other holidays. Human being has about 4 to 5 thousand hours, which we actually waste and do nothing in a year. So forget all that math also. Start with one internship during your summer holidays in your 11th and 12th and graduation. You're way ahead of most people, other than maybe Vishal, but who started even earlier than that. Honestly, Vishal, I've rarely heard stories like the one you've told me. People starting so early. But if you start in 11th standard, one internship a year is the minimum I'm asked, is the maximum I'm saying, 11th, 12th. In graduation, I have noticed colleges are much more flexible. There is time people have. They also set aside time in your final year of graduation, 6 months in engineering, in fact, to do projects. Those projects are normally paper projects. People are not spending time doing high quality work. If you do that, you can actually convert that into a job instead of waiting for someone to give it to you. So two projects in a year of about 250 to 300 hours is a very easy sell from graduation onwards. And before that, one internship during the summers. Mr. Mohan, actually, in some of the better schools, it is now almost a done thing. All the kids do one project during summers, right from 9th standard onwards. And there are kids who continue it for the rest of the year. It's a choice. It starts with awareness. How many hours do I have? Do I have 2, 3 hours every day on a Saturday and a Sunday? How do I want to how do I want to waste it? Do I want to waste it on Netflix and the thing? This is over and above a weekday when you can do all of that. And definitely, I understand young people must do all of it. But I think somewhere you have to pull back and say, there are other things that I have to invest my time in.
Great. And the last question, and I kept it for the last because that's a punchline question. The question here is a person who has now, after this entire 1 hour, has extreme self-doubt. So he says that in the new economy, in the gig economy, part-time jobs, entrepreneurship, all that is coming up, is it wrong to search for a full-time job? And I think so I think the man must have really he must have got completely aghast that, oh my God, I'm on the wrong track. So I think Vishal, you want to take a stab at that?
What's the name of the person who was asked this?
No, he's I think so aghast he didn't share his
No
name.
problems. So I'll just answer it accordingly. No, I don't think so. You need to be worried that these jobs, just to let you know, I am part of the same fraternity where full-time job, I'm still doing a full-time job with a large organization. by the way, or it's an MNC, which is in a very, very regular way, a very regular job per se. So that's not going away, number one. My full-time job actually is to get people to get into these kind of companies who are looking for full-time jobs. That's my full-time job, by the way. That's the most, and till yesterday or till today, I'm getting my salary for that matter. No, they're not going away, and don't worry about it. I somehow think what is happening is maybe we just need to appreciate the culture of startup and entrepreneurship is being talked about much, and it's more for the appreciation of the risk that people are taking and okay being the failure. But having said that, I don't think so. Jobs are going away. The full-time jobs I'm talking about, or the regular jobs that we're talking, is not going away for future. Otherwise, there are huge businesses built around that. We have tons and billions and trillions of dollars being created in terms of revenue. It's not going away. Don't worry.
Thanks a lot.
I think the current in my room has gone away, so all the different
That's
challenges.
okay. You can still remain there. That's
So on that front about jobs going away, I do have a problem to which I want to share, that I do think the gig economy is a warning that the entry level jobs are disappearing. I do believe that automation is a warning that lesser and lesser of those jobs are going to be full time. Yes, jobs for people who have 3 to 5 years of experience, those are really jobs. There's a huge demand with 10 years of experience, execution level jobs. Those are really there is this huge gap of not enough skills and not enough people, and they will always get paid very well. But I do think if you don't pick up skills early on, the gig economy might mean that the entry level jobs might not stay as full-time jobs. As I was coming into this program, I read an interesting article by TCS which said that they have experimented with the gig economy work model for the first time this year, where they posted in their internal system that there is this job which anybody can pick up and they'll get paid separately for it. And now they're saying that it has become so successful, they plan to now bring it into the public sphere as a freelancing gig economy opportunity. And then everyone will now get an opportunity to be able to apply for it, but on a freelancing basis. This will basically mean you will get to work with TCS, but it will be a gig economy project. So you can get paid well. It'll be a permanent opportunity to the employer, but your job itself will be of a non-permanent nature.
great. I think Vini went off with a bang, but I think she conveyed the same message, Vishal. I think the reality is that new economy jobs will come. You're going to have entrepreneurship opportunities increasing by the day, but full-time jobs are not going to go away tomorrow morning. They're going to remain there, and people can aspire for that too, without feeling a sense of fear. So, Munish, you want to speak? Just
Yeah, I think this was, amazing session, and so much interesting perspective, came out by Vishal and Rimi both, and Vishal, who, has an experience, whose organization is working on the recruitment side, 3,000 organizations they have been working on, and he brings an amazing experience, and so much relevant themes he brought out, which he shared with everyone. So much to hear. Rimi has been dealing with students, and she every day in day out deal with students. So she really brought out the whole student perspective to it. For me, this session could continue, but we have shortage of time. Student banega, atma nirbhar, is something, wherein students are taking the ownership. The TCS example which Rimi gave, is, I think this is the future which is coming up, because the times are very uncertain. And when uncertain times, corporates are not able to plan out things. I was speaking to one of the CEOs, he said, what is one thing which you have learned? He said, don't plan long term. It's something which he has learned. So today, nobody is ready to look into the crystal ball and say what way the things are going to work out 3 months, 6 months down the line on the revenue stream. So when revenues are not consistent, you can't plan out the hiring bit also. That's why when Remy says, the entry level hiring is not going to be, it's going to be gig oriented. I think that's what whole idea this, whole webinar came out with, that being an entrepreneurial mindset, looking for gig, looking for experience, whatever age, whatever, finding time to just do, which is there. Be open to whatever is being said. We have the social entrepreneurs with us, who are doing amazing job. I think this is the future. Okay, this is where we are. Student and banega atma nirbhar is a movement which is getting traction. We are going very strong. We are working. We are going to work with UNICEF soon. We are going to work with All India University Association soon. We are working with corporates like IBM soon. So a lot of people are coming onto this board, because 1 crore students coming into the workforce, and they are right now at having a big question mark what to do. I think with the support of friends like Vishal, and Vishal, I'm going to be in touch with you, because a lot of perspective you have brought in. Same with is Remy, we are going to bring in, and we are going to work together, collaborate to make the students banega atma nirbhar. So I think I will request all the students to pass who have been there, who have enjoyed, who want to be, I saw more than 90% of the students want to attend this webinar again, these sort of webinars again. That is the way. So I think a lot of 80% of the students want to become social entrepreneurs. This is live going on. So let the word spread out. Let this go, this number which has been displayed on the screen, this is your livelihood helpline number. Just call this number, register, and you'll start getting work opportunities. So thank you again. Look forward to connecting with you all next week, same time, same day, Friday, 5 to 6 p.m. Block in your calendars. We'll bring more set of interesting speakers to this thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Cheers. All the best.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Right. So, Srishti, go ahead. Single number, one number, 21 languages.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. One snap for all of us. Srishti will
Oh,
be done that. So, and luckily light came. Let there be light, and there was light.
Yes.
Srishti, done?
1, 2, and 3.
We got a color picture of Vishal this time.
Thank
We
you.
cracked it. Thanks a lot, Remy and Vishal. I think wonderful session indeed. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.